Welcome to the Cannes press conference. My name is Samantha Smith and I work for WWF. So I'm just going to give you some top-line impressions on what just got gavelled through here at COP18. This is an incredibly weak deal. So in a few minutes, governments are going to come sprinting out of here along with folks from the UN Secretariat, and they're going to tell you that this was a great victory. They're going to tell you that getting a second commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol was fantastic. They're going to tell you about all of the steps, big and small, mostly small, that countries took to get here. But the truth is that there is nothing in this deal which will substantially reduce emissions, which will keep emissions from going up as opposed to down. There's very little about long-term finance. A few countries managed to stop that in its tracks. And there's nothing in this deal which really lays the foundation for what we were promised when we left Durban, which was a fair, ambitious, and binding global deal in 2015. So in civil society, we're not fooled, and we don't want you folks in the media to be fooled, and we don't want folks at home to be fooled either. There are a few things to note about the result that we got. So the first thing is that the COP president gavelled through a result. According to the government of Russia, this was over the objections of Russia. They were trying to get noticed. Now, the result, which was about restricting the use of assigned amount units, also known as hot air, we think that that is a good result. But there are going to be political implications of the way this was done. My colleague Alexei Kokorin from Russia will be available later to talk to you about that. So that's one thing that was unusual. The second thing that happened is that the United States basically accepted itself, or raised an objection to, or noted that any part of this decision, especially the parts that relate to equity, to the different responsibilities of countries such as the US, China, and India, that was inconsistent with what was agreed in Durban, that for them, the Durban platform controls. So they're basically saying, okay, whatever was agreed here on those issues, it's actually all about what was agreed in Durban. That's what we like, and that's what we want. They had some kind of objection on trade, not as important as what I just mentioned. But the real story is that we've just spent all of these days and nights and hours, we're all exhausted. We just got a weak deal gavelled through, so don't listen to the applause. Focus on what was actually agreed. Now, I don't want to take away from some of the countries like Denmark, which was the first developed country to make a commitment to the Green Climate Fund. They should get a lot of credit for that. I don't want to also skip the chance to single out the US, which behind the scenes and also publicly was consistently holding back progress, which wouldn't put any information on the table about how it's going to meet its 17% emissions reduction commitment, and which didn't say very much either about long-term finance, in fact, almost nothing. And Alden Meyer will be available to talk to you about this in a bit. I also would like to single out Canada for being one of the worst countries in this negotiation, backing away from its commitments under the Kyoto Protocol and showing no shame or regret about this whatsoever, also being super obstructive on finance. There were some other countries that stepped forward with money, but the bottom line is that developing countries were promised in Copenhagen, they were promised up to $100 billion a year by 2020, and no one here has yet explained how they're going to get it. So how will they transition their economies? How are they going to put in place adaptation plans if they have no idea where the money is coming from? The same thing goes with cuts. All of us are expecting, in this year of extreme weather events, we were expecting governments prepared to take action. And what did they do? They came here with no mandate. So no mandate to really cut. The last thing is about the EU. Yes, we got a second commitment period. That was great. But the EU is committed to 20%, and they're well on track to do that. They could do this with their eyes closed. So that's the real story. There was a lot that should have happened here, also for governments to fulfill their responsibilities to their own people. All of these different governments and some rich countries have refused to deliver. It creates a very bad atmosphere in these negotiations. Thank you.